Good day. I'm Otis Holloway, proprietor of the finest general store west of the Mississippi River. You do know what a general store was, don't you? Well, they were smaller than your Bratchers, but bigger than your Casey's. And if the general didn't sell it, you probably didn't need it. In the late part of the 19th century, we sold everything, from hardware to hats. And it was here on the porch of the general store where friends and neighbors would gather to talk and swap a tale or two.
The funny thing about those tall tales, the more they got told, the taller they got. I'm forewarned. I read the town's only newspaper. It comes out once a week, and what folks don't read in the papers, they hear sitting around the general store.
Most of the news from the outside world comes from folks like me, Tom Brady, riverboat pilot. I navigate up and down the Mississippi, and I'm a good listener, you see, so naturally I hear things along the way. The gossip, the information that I hear, well, I pass it along to my friends here at the general store.
Howdy, I'm Annie Riley, newspaper reporter for the Bugle. I gather all the news that's fit to print and some that ain't. Most of what I hear around the general store never gets in the paper. Not that it's dirty or nothing, it's just you wouldn't believe all the fibbing that goes on around here. Well, here we are. I'm Virginia Holloway, Otis's wife, co-owner of the store, the town's dressmaker, and protector of the truth. That means I keep these here born liars honest.
It may have been a general store like this one where young St. Clements first heard folks telling stories. And after hearing all those tales, he may have been inspired to write a few of his own.
All the stories that we're going to tell you today were written by our friend Sam. You folks do know who Sam is, don't ya?
Of course I know who Sam is. Samuel Langhorne Clemens to his friends, and Mark Twain to the rest of the world.
Who's Mark Twain?
Sam.
Sam Clemens?
That's right. Sam Clemens is Mark Twain.
I don't get it.
Annie, for an educated woman, you sure are dumb. Mark Twain is a pen name, you see. Some fellas write under pen names.
Why?
Why? I don't know why. They just do is all.
Sorry. Hey! Maybe I should get me a pen name, being I'm a newspaper writer and all. Well, where'd you get the name Mark Twain from anyhow?
Well, Sam was a riverboat pilot.
Just like you, Tom.
That's right. And Mark Twain is what we riverboat pilots call the signal when the river is 2 fathoms deep.
Kind of like Sam's insight into human nature. Deep.
You know, I just thought of something. We all have an occupation that was once pursued by Mark Twain.
That's right. He did run a general store, and he was
A printer.
A riverboat pilot and a newspaper reporter.
Hey! Just like me!
Better than that, I'm sure.
And we all know he made real fine dresses. He did not. No, Annie. We were only funnying. I knew that.
All the stories that we're going to tell you today were written by our friend Sam. Mark Twain was raised in Hannibal, Missouri. He published his first short story in 1865, and that started a career in writing that spanned 45 years.
Today, we're going to tell you just a few of those stories.
And we'll hope you'll get a craving to go down to a local library and read some of the hundreds of short stories, essays, and novels written by our friend, Samuel Clemens. Now, if you'll excuse me, I got a pot of coffee on the stove I need to take care of.
Hey, Otis, how about a game of checkers?
All right, help me set up the board.
thank you, ma'am.
Annie, what on earth are you doing back there?
Well, I thought I saw me a frog hopping back behind these crates. Thought I might catch him.
And what would you do once you got him caught?
Go fishing is all. Frogs are the best kind of bait, Jenny. Thought everybody knowed that.
Annie, didn't your mama ever teach you that you get warts from handling problems?
Yeah, and I never believed Mama either.
You know, Annie's frog safari puts me in the mind of a story. I could tell it to y'all while I'm waiting for my coffee to cool, if anybody be interested.
Go to it, Flora. Maybe the flapping of your lips will create a breeze.
Yeah, Flora, this afternoon he's a killer.
Go on, Flora. We're all dying to hear your story about the frogs.
Well, straight off, I gotta tell you that this here story is the gospel truth.
It's the first time for everything, I reckon.
Hush.
Y'all remember when I was out in California a few years back?
I remember that. You was gonna make your fortune prospecting.
Yeah, and as I heard it, you never found nothing.
That aside, while I was out there, a friend of mine asked me to call upon old Simon Wheeler. He wanted me to find out any information I could on a man named Leonidas W. Smiley.
Strange name.
I had my feeling that my friend never knew such a person. And if I had asked old Mr. Wheeler about him, I'd get the story of the infamous Jim Smiley. And it would be some long, exasperating reminiscence, totally useless to me. If that was the design, it succeeded.
I thought this was a story about frogs, Flora.
Patience, Annie. I'll get to the part about frogs, I promise. Mr. Wheeler? Mr. Wheeler?
What? Oh. What can I do for you, young lady?
A friend of mine told me if I was coming through the mighty kind of angel, I should look you up and ask you about a man named Leonidas W. Smiley. It seems that Reverend Leonidas W. Smiley was a preacher at the gospel here, and my friend was wondering about any information you could tell me about it.
Well, spell a spell here, missy. I'll see if I can recollect him. Leonidas W. Smiley. Leonidas W. Smiley. Well, there was a feller here once by the name of Jim Smiley. In the winter of 49, or maybe it was the spring of 50, I don't recollect exactly.
My friend was very specific. Leonidas W. Smiley.
What makes me think it was one or the other is I remember the big flood Mark finished when he first come into camp.
I really don't see what this has to do with anything, Mr. Wheeler.
He had the fever,
Mr. Smiley, was it?
in a way. Had a bad case of the gambling sickness. He would bet on almost anything, and it didn't matter much to him which side he took either.
You see them couple of birds sitting on that wire over yonder?
Looks like a couple of pigeons.
That could be, partner. Well, I will bet even money that my bird, the one on the right, will be the first to fly off of that wire.
I don't think I can accept that bet, sir.
All right, sport. I'll offer you the same bet, except I'll take the bird on the left.
Didn't matter much to him, as long as he got a bet. And he was lucky. Uncommon lucky. He almost always come out a winner.
Mrs. Walker, I understand that your husband is very sick.
Yes, I'm afraid that the parson was very ill, but he's doing considerably better. Thank the Lord for his infinite mercy. He'll get well yet with the help of Providence.
Well, I'll risk $2.50 that he don't anyway.
And I'll be darned if the parson didn't take a turn for the worst and pass on to his great reward.
What you got there, Jim?
I catch this here frog, and I figured I'd take him home. Figured I'd educate him.
And for 3 months, Smiley sat in his backyard and he learned that frog to jump.
it took was a little education for that frog to outjump any other frog in Calaveras County.
You got a name too?
Daniel Webster. I reckon that's what I'll call him. And I'll wager old Daniel Webster here against any other frog in a jumping contest.
See, when it came to fair and square jumping on a dead level, that frog could get over more ground at one straddle than any animal of his breed you ever seen. He beat all comers.
Come on, Dan. Let's go downtown and see what kind of a bet we can work up.
Then one day, a stranger come into camp.
What might it be you got in that box?
Well, it might be a parrot, or it might be a canary, but it ain't. It's only a little old frog.
Well, what's it good for?
Well, he can outjump any other frog in Calaveras County.
Well, I don't see no prints about that frog that's better than any other frog.
Maybe you do. Maybe you don't. Maybe you understand frogs, and maybe you don't understand. Maybe you're an amateur, as it were. Anyway, I've got my opinion, and I'll risk $40 that this frog can outjump any other frog in a jumping contest.
Well, I'm only a stranger here and I ain't got no frog. But if I had a frog, I'd bet you.
That's all right. If you hold my box, I'll get you a frog.
Mister, you've got yourself a bet. And here's my $40.
And here's mine.
So Smiley went off, and the stranger sat there for a good while, thinking and thinking to herself. Finally, she got the idea of what to do.
Come here, frog. Got me an idea how to win this here jumping contest. Never cared much for rifles, but I sure knew one day this here box of birdshot would do me some good. Now, open up wide and we'll fill you to the chin. If the frog's got a chin, well, up to the brim. Now, I sure don't want no gin to feel how heavy you are, so let's sit you down on the starting line here.
Found you a good one, ma'am.
Just so you can't accuse me of tampering, why don't you sit him down on the starting line by your own frog there?
All right. Now, if you're ready, I'll give the word. 1, 2, 3, get. And we each gives our frogs a touch. The one that jumps the furthest wins the match.
Let her rip.
All right. 1, 2, 3, get. I don't understand. He's never acted that way before.
But like I said, I don't see no pins about that frog that's better than any other frog.
Well, what in tarnation could have caused him to flow the race like that? He appears mighty baggy somehow. Well, blame my cats if he don't weigh 5 pounds.
So Jim Smiley turned old Daniel Webster upside his head, and he belched out a double handful of ammunition.
Well, how'd you get so full of ammunition? Hold on. I do believe that stranger done swindled me. Hey, man, you get back here.
Oh, well, I never saw anyone as mad as Jim Smiley was, chasing after that low-life, cheating stranger. But he never catched her. Oh, and by the way, no one ever accused Jim Smiley of cheating, but if the whole truth be known, that frog that he catched for the stranger was the oldest and the lamest frog that he could have caught her. Oh, why? I do believe that frog may have been so old, it could have been a part of the plague that Moses had rained down on old Pharaoh. But I reckon the moral of the story is that even the lamest of frogs will outjump one loaded up with 2 handfuls of birdshot. Or maybe it's that you can't cheat an honest man. Anyway, let me tell you what happened next.
I didn't think a continuation of the enterprising vagabond Jim Smiley would be likely to afford me any information. And so...
Well, this here Smiley had a yellow one-eyed cow that didn't have no tail, only just a short stump like a banana.
And lacking both.
And let me tell you, this cow
took
could
my
jump
lead.
like nobody's business.
Annie, where you off to now?
Well, that frog I spotted earlier jumped pretty far, and I figured that if I didn't want to go fishing, then maybe I could enter some jumping contests and...
Amy, didn't that story teach you anything?
Well, it was a great yarn, Flora, but what exactly did it mean? You can't cheat an honest man. They was both cheats.
I don't believe a word of it, Flora, but it sure was entertaining.
It's a true story, Tom, from beginning to end.
Are you gonna answer my question, Flora?
Amy, it's simple, darling. If Smiley were honest, he would have let the stranger pick his own frog.
And he would have held on to the great Daniel Webster, so the stranger couldn't have filled him up with the quail ammo.
You think you got it now, Annie?
So, you mean to tell me that Smiley picked the stranger's frog to cheat him
And
and...
that's right, Annie. The stranger was better at cheating than Smiley was.
Well, I'll be you.
You know, Annie, you're supposed to be a grown-up.
Sure am. Been one for quite some time, Otis.
Maybe. But chasing frogs, Annie? You remind me more of a young boy I once knew named Tom.
That's your name, ain't it?
That's right, Annie. That's my name, too. Tom was quite a mischievous boy. He liked frogs, snakes, and even dead rabbits.
Is this a story about you and you as a youngin'?
Annie, the story that I'm trying to tell ain't got nothing to do with me.
We gotta admit, Tom, it's a mighty curious coincidence.
Can I help it if this kid and I have the same name?
He can't help it, Flora.
Thank you, Virginia. May I go on?
Of course. We're all dying to hear the story about your childhood.
Can't wait.
Don't pay him any mind, Tom.
As I was saying, Tom was always getting into scrapes. And for your information, I was virtually a perfect child. You can ask my mother if you like. Well, it seems that one Friday evening, Tom got into a scuffle with a new boy in town. And when Aunt Polly,
Tom Sawyer!
that was Tom's guardian, got sight of the state of his clothes, all heck broke loose.
My goodness, young man, just look at you. What in the name of glory have you been up to?
Well,
Never mind, I can see for myself. You've been fighting again.
well, Aunt Polly, this new boy.
I don't care what he may have called you. Scuffling around like a couple of heathens never solved anything.
Well, no, ma'am, you're right. Nothing ever got solved by scuffling.
And so you don't forget it. You can spend tomorrow doing a little hard labor around here. You'll whitewash the fence that runs around this house.
Whitewash.
3 coats.
But Aunt Polly, tomorrow's Saturday.
Saturday. Let me see. Today is Friday, and since we go to church the day after tomorrow, that'd be Sunday, then tomorrow must be Saturday. Yes, Tom, I do believe that you're right. And if need be, you'll spend all of it whitewashing that fence out there.
Whitewash.
3 coats.
And so, on Saturday morning, old Tom found himself with a big bucket of whitewash and a long-handled brush. He surveyed the fence. 30 yards of board fence. 30 yards of board fence, 9 feet high. Whew! And life sure does seem hollow this morning. Whitewash on a Saturday. And this sure does put a damper on my plans for today. Won't be long for those other boys come around here, free as birds, enjoying their day off.
Tom, you sure was a funny kid.
Flora, I just ain't gonna pay you any mind, so you might as well just sit down and listen to the story. And then Tom got an idea.
What I need to do is hire me some helpers. Well, ain't that sad? All of my worldly wealth amounts to nothing more than some bits of string, toys, and marbles. Enough to buy a half hour of pure freedom.
And then, at his dark and hopeless moment, an inspiration burst upon him. Like the hand of the almighty providence reaching out of the clouds, his mind was filled with nothing less than a great, magnificent inspiration.
Ding, ding, ding! What? Ding, ding, ding! Stop here, sir! Ting-ling-ling! Ship up to back! Center on starboard! Let your outside turn over slow! Give on the headline! Lively now! Come out with your spring line! What are you about there? Set her by the stage and let her go! Down at the edges, sir! Shh! Shh! Howdy! You're up to something, ain't you? Hello, old chap. Working, eh?
Why, Ben, it's you. I didn't notice.
Say, I'm going to swimming, I am. Don't you wish you could? Of course, you'd rather work, wouldn't you? Of course you would.
Well, what do you call work?
Why? Ain't that work?
Well, I don't know. Maybe it is, maybe it ain't, but it suits me.
You don't mean to let on that you like it?
Well, I don't know why I don't like it. It's not every day a boy gets to whitewash a fence.
Say, let me whitewash you.
Oh, no, Ben. I reckon that would hardly do, you see. Aunt Polly, she's awful particular about the Spence here in the front. Now, if it was the one in the back, she wouldn't care, but she's awful particular about this one in the front. Well, I don't think there's a boy in 1,000, maybe 2,000 that could do it right.
Well, I'll be just as careful. Now,
They're supposed to do.
I could do a better job than that, but I'll let you for me time.
Ben, I'd like to, but you see, all right, my stepbrother Sid, he tried to do it, and, well, she wouldn't let him. Now, don't you see how I'm fixed? If you were to try this and anything would have happened to her, she would lose her mind. She would.
Oh, shucks. Say, I'll give you the core of my apple.
No, Ben, I don't think it would work. I just don't think that's a good idea. She wouldn't have it.
And I'll give you all that's left.
All right.
So Tom sat back in the shade and waited for more boys who came every little while. They came to cheer, but remained to whitewash. Once Ben had tired, Tom had traded the next chance for a kite. And the chance after that for a dead rat on a string. And so it went, hour after hour, until Tom was visited by his best friend, Huckleberry Finn.
Oh, hooray! Will you looky at that fence?
Why, it's a thing of beauty, ain't it, huh?
I suspect it is. How'd you get all this done, Tom?
Ingenuity.
Engine who?
No. Ingenuity means using your head instead of your back.
Well, I'm all for that.
Yep, a thing of beauty. 3 coats.
How much did you have to pay them?
Nothing, they paid me. That's ingenuity.
Tom, I'm sure we're out of whitewash. Howdy, Huck. Did you come to paint?
Afraid not, Ben. I'm a-using my engine's annuity.
Right. Well, Tom, the boys want me to thank you for letting us help you whitewash today.
Ben, you tell those boys that it was my pleasure. If I had run out of paint, I would have bankrupted every boy in this village.
Going fishing?
I gotta ask Aunt Polly first. I'll be back.
$1 o'clock. I'm sure that devil Tom has run off hours ago. Well, I never. There's no getting around it, Tom. You can work for human mind too.
Why, thank you, Aunt Polly.
But it is powerful seldom human mind from time to say. Well, run along and play. But mind you get back sometime during this week, or I'll have some other job for you to do next Saturday.
Fishing. You know what? I learned a beautiful lesson of human nature today. In order to make a boy want a thing, it's only necessary to make that thing difficult to get.
Ingenuity, Tom.
Ah, that's right. And there's no telling where that kind of knowledge can take you.
And young Tom went merrily off, certain that he would never give up such a beautiful day to such a fine...
Now hold on a minute. Folks, I can tell y'all with great certainty that this was not the story of old Tom's misspent youth.
I've been trying to tell him that all along, Otis. I'm glad somebody finally realized.
It ain't Tom's story because it ain't Tom's story. It's Tom's story.
It ain't Tom's story. Tom's story. Tom. Oh, I am so confused.
I'm afraid you're not alone this time, Annie. You want to explain that so the simpler folk can understand it, dear?
I was just reading that story last night in a book.
Gee, Tom, I didn't know you wrote a book.
He did. The book is called The Adventures of Tom Sawyer, written by Mark Twain, better known to all of us as Sam.
Who never said it was original.
Never said it was Sam's neither.
I knew that couldn't have been Tom's story. At least halfway through, anyway.
How'd you figure that?
Well, you see, that kid was a heck of a lot sharper than Tom is now. He certainly couldn't have gotten dumber as he's gotten older, could he?
Just a minute here.
How's the book, Otis?
Let me tell you. If you enjoyed that story Tom just told, you're going to enjoy the rest of the book.
I can tell you a few more adventures if you'd like.
No, thank you, Tom. I'd like the pleasure of reading Sam's story on my own. But if you'd like to tell a story of your childhood, I'm sure that'd be a change of pace from the humor of Tom Sawyer.
Hey, Annie, how about we finish that game of checkers we got going on? It's your move, Annie. Ain't you gonna sit down?
No need.
No need. What does that mean, no need?
There's no need. Because the game's finished. Sorry, Tom.
Maybe old Tom has gotten dumber as he's gotten older. And he never used to beat him at games of chance.
Well, checkers ain't exactly a game of chance now, is it? It's a game of skill and science.
If it were a game of science, Tom, Andy'd never be able to play the game at all.
That doesn't sound like good sportsmanship to me, Flora.
Yeah, Flora. Checkers ain't a game of chance, so it has to be scientifical. And as you just observed, I play the game very well.
I guess you figure that makes you a scientist then.
Imagine me, a scientist.
You know, Otis, you've played a few games of checkers in your day. So what is it? Science or luck?
Science versus luck? Well, I don't know about checkers, Flora. But let me tell you how Mayor Laura Dutton of Lexington, Kentucky, settled that question about a game called 7-Up. At that time in Kentucky, the law was very strict on what is termed games of chance.
Come in, Mr. Sturgis. Thank you for coming. Mayor Dutton, it's good to see you again. I'll tell you why I should come by you. About a dozen of my boys were caught playing 7-Up for money. 7-Up is a card game, and the grand jury's found a true bill against them. I want you to defend these little boys when the trial comes up. Well, Mayor, you just give me the particulars, and I'll study the case. Betty, would you come in here for a second?
Yes, Mr. Sturgis?
Betty, the longer I study this case, the bleaker it looks. It seems apparent that I'm going to lose this case.
I think that it's a shame this case is going tomorrow. It's been, up to now, a brilliant career, Mr. Sturgis.
It seems that even the public sympathizes with my plight. They're saying things like, "Ain't it a pity about old Jim Sturgis? It seems Her Honor the Mayor has gone and saddled that boy up with a prominent case that he can't possibly win." Yep. Sure does seem like my first loser, Betty.
Those boys were caught red-handed betting money on a game of chance. You can...
Betty, that's it! Your Honor, the defense freely admits that these boys were playing the game of 7-Up and were indeed betting cash money on its outcome.
Very well. Mr. Sturgis, do you wish to enter a plea of guilty on behalf of your clients?
No, on the contrary, Your Honor. The defense intends to prove beyond a shadow of doubt that the game of 7-Up is not a game of chance at all, but a game of skill and science.
You're very amusing, Mr. Sturgis, but this is a grave matter and my court will not allow you to make a joke of it.
I can assure Your Honor that that is not my intention. See, these boys cannot be punished for indulging in what some people choose to believe is a game of chance, until it is proven that it is a game of chance.
Your Honor, that'll be a simple matter. The state can call any number of witnesses to prove that 7-Up is a game of chance.
And I will call an equal number of witnesses to prove that it is not a game of chance, but a game of science.
Very well. Mr. Sturgis, how do you suggest that this case be decided?
Impanel a jury of 12, with 6 on each side of the issue. Science versus luck. Send him into the jury room with a couple decks of cards and some matches, and just abide by the result.
Very well. We shall proceed with the rest. The jury will retire to the jury room. Bailiff, see that they are given whatever they need to conduct the test. The court will reconvene when a decision has been reached.
All rise.
Bailiff?
Yes, Your Honor.
The jury has been out for over 12 hours now. What is going on?
Well, about 2 hours after the adjournment, Reverend Peters sent out to borrow $3 from a friend. 2 hours later, the 4th grade school teacher, Mother Molly, sent out to borrow a steak from a friend. Since then, the other 4 deacons on the chain side have all stayed in the court for small loans. It shouldn't be much longer now. All rise.
Deacon Johnson, has the jury finally reached a decision?
Your Honor, having carefully considered the points of this case and tested the merits of the several theories advanced, we, the jury, unanimously decide that the game calculated to inflict untold suffering and monetary loss upon any community that takes stock in it.
In the case of science versus luck, science wins.
And that's how the game of 7-Up was changed in the statute books of Kentucky as not a game of chance, but of science, and therefore not punishable under the law. Now, I suppose if y'all would like to play checkers for the next 12 hours, we might be settled as the question of that game. But really, folks, I do believe we might find a better way to spend our time.
I mean, the checkers, it doesn't really matter that
Sorry,
much.
I brought it up. Hey, Annie. How about a rematch?
Not right now, Tom. I'd be proud to later on.
You don't really mean that, do you?
Why, of course I do. Why would I make something up like that?
Because you want to quit while you're ahead. Everyone can see that.
I said I'd play you later on, and I meant it.
She said she'd play later, Tom.
Otis, you know she's lying. Never met anyone who stretched the God's honest truth more than Annie Riley. Why, she makes up half the stories she writes in the newspapers. Did you know that?
Shame on you, Tom. Right on the Bugle's masthead, it says, "The unvarnished truth." And them is words I live by. Most of the time.
Aha.
I do take a measure of license now and again. All writers do.
License my Aunt Tilly. You ain't a writer. You are a reporter. You're supposed to report the facts, period.
Well, here's a fact I'd like to report. The cheap cargo you carry on your riverboat is all fibs and gossip. You spread your so-called news up and down the Mississippi River like so much manure.
Now, I've heard just about enough. A couple of grown folks acting like pigs. I do believe that both of you are equal when it comes to stretching the truth. So I'm going to tell you a story that I'm hoping will teach y'all an important lesson.
I will be all ears, Virginia. But I'd keep an eye on Annie if I was you. She may doze off when the learning part comes along.
Let us be thankful for the tools, but without them, the rest of us would not succeed.
Why, thank you, Miss Jenny, for standing up for me like that. That was real nice of you.
Well, it seems that before the start of the Civil War, Memphis, Tennessee was the great tobacco shipping center. The docks required a large amount of clerks who were part of the time very busy and part of the time bored silly. During the slow times, they liked to amuse themselves by playing practical jokes on a man named Ed Jackson.
What did poor Ed do to deserve such treatment?
Not a thing. He was just a nice feller who believed anything his friends told him.
Goodness. Look at the gravy stain on your shirt, Ed.
Hey, Ed, your shoes untied.
Oh, thanks, Fairchild.
Oh, man. Oh, that was a good one, Fairchild. Boy, it is powerful slow today.
You're right. You know, they ain't expecting any shipments in until tomorrow. It means you and I will be sitting around here bored all afternoon.
Yep. I believe this calls for a major practical joke on old Ed. Here he comes. Follow me. Howdy, Ed. I was just thinking, don't you have a vacation coming up here pretty soon?
2 glorious weeks, beginning the day after tomorrow.
Why is that a fact?
Well, that wouldn't mean much to you now, Fairchild, would it? You being most always on vacation anyway?
Oh, well, do believe that Ed has made that personal on the dock.
So, big plans, I bet. Hey, Ed. Hey, the fishing's been mighty good up to Graver's Landing.
Nope, no fishing. And no hunting either. This year, I thought I'd have a look at New York City. Well, I best get back to work, fellas.
Fairchild, this is the practical opportunity of a lifetime.
What's the plan?
You write Ed a letter of introduction to Commodore Vanderbilt from your father.
The Commodore Vanderbilt, the biggest industrialist in this country?
Oh, the very one. I hear he holds court in this huge office in New York City. People come from all over the world for a 2-minute audience with the man.
Well, my father doesn't know.
Of course he doesn't. If he did, we wouldn't be able to play this joke on old Ed, would we?
Oh, so we make Ed think my father knows him. We give him a letter from my father, and he gives the letter to the Commodore then.
Well, with any luck, the Commodore will toss that out into the street.
This is too much. What about when Ed gets back? This joke, this is humiliating.
You're right, he'll probably come back and kill the both of us, but oh, I'm afraid that's a risk we are just gonna have to take.
Yeah, you're right. It wouldn't do to waste such a precious joke opportunity as this, now would it?
So you write Ed the letter of introduction to Commodore Vanderbilt from your father, Alfred Fairchild. Make it friendly, high-spirited.
All right, I'll make my father and the Commodore childhood friends.
Oh, perfect. We'll meet right here and give it to Ed tomorrow before he heads off. Agreed?
Agreed. This is going to be the funniest joke that we've ever played all day.
Well, my bag is packed, and I'm off.
Ed! Ooh, I'm glad we caught you before you left. Would you like a letter of introduction to meet Commodore Vanderbilt?
Goodness, do you know that extraordinary man?
Well, we don't know, but my father does. And they were schoolboys together. Why, when I heard you were going to New York, I took the liberty of having my father write a letter of introduction for you. And it is a beautiful letter. I wrote
His father writes that the bearer, that's you, is the bosom friend of the writer's son, and begs that the Commodore be kind to the young stranger, for the writer's sake.
My father goes on to say that while he may not remember him at first, when he reminds the old Commodore of such boyhood memories as when they robbed old man Stevenson's orchard and sold old man Stevenson's own apples back to his own cook, well, he's sure to recall.
Oh yes, quite touching, really. It brought a tear to my eye.
My friends, I can't thank you enough. Meeting the Commodore will make my trip.
Oh, of that we are sure.
Next stop, New York City.
New York City, the center of the universe. Well, this is it. Commodore Vanderbilt's business office. Hello. I would like to see Commodore Vanderbilt, please.
Do you have an appointment?
No, but I have this wonderful letter of introduction.
Then you may take a seat in the large anteroom with a score of other people patiently waiting their turn for their 2-minute interview with the great millionaire industrialist in his private office.
Waiting for hours. But I'm sure it'll be worth it.
Mr. Jackson, Commodore Vanderbilt will see you now.
Mr. Jackson, by the opening sentence, this seems like a letter from an old friend. Alfred Fairchild. Fairchild. I don't recall the name. But that's nothing. 1,000 names have gone through me. He says, oh dear. But it's good. I don't quite remember it, but I seem to... It'll all come back to me presently. carries me back. It's a bit dim, but I'm sure that it happened. And Lord, how it brings back my lost youth. Well, business presses end. There are people waiting. You'll thank Mr. Fairchild for when you see him again. I used to call him Alf, I think, and thank him for his letter. Now, my boy, what do you intend on staying while you're in town?
I have a reservation at the Piccadilly Hotel, sir.
Cancel it, my boy. When I finish business here, come to my home for a missionary stay. It's the least I can do for my old friend Alf.
Ed stayed a week and never suspected that the Commodore was watching him, that he was being tested and tried. Come the end of the week, the Commodore said to Ed,
Ed, my boy, I believe that I know you well. You understand my feelings about tobacco. I'm expanding my business in the Memphis area. I demand you know my mind and is qualified to represent me. I believe that you are that man, Ed. You'll be the supreme commander of all my tobacco interests in Memphis.
Me, sir?
Yes, my boy, you. Your salary will be high, oh, of course, for your representative. You'll need assistance. Should of yourself, carefully. No man can friend yourself. But, all things being equal, take the man you know. Take your friend with others.
Upon his return to Memphis, Ed came upon the two clerks, who were terrified. They were certain Ed had found them out.
You stay away from me, Ed.
Well, Ed, I didn't do it, I swear.
Didn't do what?
Well,
Never mind that. What have I done?
Well, you haven't done that.
he smelt a rat and never delivered the letter. But I'm not going to bring it up.
You're right. There's no way he could have delivered that letter. Here's the joke. It's on us.
Tonight, gentlemen, we shall have a dinner of steak and oysters, and it shall be my treat.
Why so generous?
Well, when I delivered that letter to Mr. Vanderbilt...
Great Scott! Did you deliver it?
And Ed told them the story of his entire trip, including his meet with the Commodore. When Ed had finished, the two clerks weren't exactly sure if they had been found out or not, and that's exactly what Ed wanted.
And my success is all owing to you boys, and you'll never find me ungrateful. Bless your hearts! The best friends a fellow ever had. You'll both have fine jobs with Mr. Vanderbilt's company.
Ed, we
couldn't possibly accept jobs with Mr. Vanderbilt's company.
No? Why on earth not?
Well, we don't know him.
That's true.
We don't know. But surely, Fairchild, you jest. You know Mr. Vanderbilt.
No, he doesn't.
Oh, that's right. You said it wasn't you who knew him, but it was your...
Father.
Father. Yes, indeed. Your father knew him.
And we couldn't accept these generous job offers because, well, the whole thing was one of our practical jokes.
And a finer practical joke was never played.
You knew?
Knew what? That one of your petty practical jokes finally amounted to something good? The joke that made its fortune.
Yes, that is the one.
Well, not at first, sir. If I had known, I would have never had the nerve to see Mr. Vanderbilt. But sometime during the week, it all became clear. Stevenson's orchard, indeed.
He wrote the letter.
Yes, well... Once I realized that the letter was a fraud, and that I was once again the dupe of one of your practical jokes, I decided to put our friendship to the test. I also believe this is what Mr. Vanderbilt wanted me to do.
Ed, I hope that you accept our sincerest apologies.
Of course I do. I recognize you both as my honest comrades. But you can be sure the jobs would have gone to others had you not admitted your wrongdoings. But friendship will be rewarded. I will take the men that I know. It will please Mr. Vanderbilt that I have done so. Come, let us have a toast to that great man.
my hands on the rascal who stole it. That's why I told the story, Flora.
Tom took it.
What? I did not.
I saw Flora take it, Mrs. H.
Tom took the pot, but I do think Annie helped eat it, though.
Enough! Take it outside.
We are outside.
Flora obviously took the pot. Don't you deny it. Virginia, you're right. These folks is all born liars.
It don't make us bad people.
Of course not, Flora. But love y'all anyways, even though y'all liars and pie thieves. Now why don't we go inside and get some pie that wasn't stolen? And why don't y'all go out back and get yourself something to eat? Stretch your legs, maybe. And will someone please wake up that man over there?
Flora? A map of the Westford Bakery?
Moving up to Robin Cake's wholesale, Flora.
What's the matter, Flora? My pies ain't good enough for you anymore?
You see, drawing is a little hobby of mine. I got the idea from Sam. He was telling me a story once about some fellers who were painters. And you know, Sam has the uncanny ability of predicting what actions a man will take, and by doing so, exposing all of our human foibles. Now this here story that I'm going to tell you,
Did these fellers rob a bakery?
clearly illustrates the nature of our humanity. It's called, Is He Living or Is He Dead?
I always believed that Mentone wasn't like the famous places on the Riviera, that it has all the advantages of Monte Carlo and Toulouse, without all the fuss and display.
I couldn't agree with you more, my dear. Mentone is simple, quiet, unpretentious. The rich and the gaudy do not come here, as a rule. Quick, cast your eye on the man going out that door. Take in every detail of him.
Why?
Do you know who he is?
Yes. He's a very rich retired silk manufacturer from the yard. He keeps to himself. His name's Theodore McNair. Why such interest in him?
There is a beautiful Hans Christian Andersen story that I can't totally recall, but part of it goes like this. A child is a caged bird, which he loves, but thoughtlessly neglects. The bird pours out its song, unheard. In time, hunger and thirst assail the creature, and its song grows feeble, and finally ceases. The bird dies. The child becomes filled with remorse. He calls his mates, and they bury the bird with elaborate pomp and tender grief. They did not know that it's not only children who starve poets to death and then spend enough money on their funerals and monuments to have kept them alive and made them live easy and comfortable.
Oh, Smitty. A charming, sweet story. Pray, is there a point to your telling it?
My dear Catherine, I want to tell you a curious history. It has been a secret for many years now between me and 3 others. But I'm going to break that seal now.
Darling, you have me all Twitter with anticipation. I love your shameful little secrets.
A long time ago, I was a young artist.
Really? I didn't think that finger painting qualified as art.
No, not that young, my dear, nor that messy. No, as a matter of fact, I was quite a talented painter. I was traveling about France, sketching, painting,
when I came upon two Frenchmen who were doing the same as I.
How delightful. A party of painters.
We were as happy as we were poor. Or as poor as we were happy? Phrase it to suit yourself. Carl, Claude, and I traveled to a place called Beton Village, where we encountered yet another artiste.
How wonderful for you, darling. A fourth for bridge.
If you keep interrupting, I'll never be able to get to the secret. As I was saying, the fourth artist was as poor as ourselves, but he took us in and saved us from starving. His name was Francois Millet.
What? Forgive me for interrupting you, darling, but you don't mean the great Francois Millet.
Great? He wasn't any greater than we were. Then, he had only turnips to feed us. We had lovely times together, but, oh my, how poor we were then. We struggled and starved together for almost 2 years, when one day,
My friends, we've come to an end. No one in town will give us any more credit until our bills are paid.
It is a shame. Look at these canvases. Stacks and stacks of pictures. As good as anybody in your paints. I don't care who he is. And plenty of strangers have said the same.
unfortunately, he did not pay any.
No matter, they said it. And it's true too. Are they not of a very high merit? Answer me that.
Yes, of course they are.
Of such great and high merit that, if we were to attach an illustrious name to them, they would sell for splendid prices, no?
Certainly it is. How does that help us?
Very simple. We shall attach an illustrious name to them.
Oh, why didn't I think of it?
Hear me out, my friends. I believe this is the only way to keep us out of the poorhouse. And furthermore, I believe it is a perfectly sure way. I base my opinion upon long-established facts in human history. This project will make us rich.
Oh, he has lost his mind. What do you call rich?
100,000 francs. Each.
I agree. He has lost his mind. But just in case we are wrong, I want to hear the whole idea, Carl. What is it?
We know that an artist's greatness is never truly discovered until he has started it. This is so common that I have found alarm on it. Thus it is written, the merit of every great, unknown, and neglected artist shall be recognized, and his paintings will climb in price after his death. One of us must die. We will draw one of our names. The chosen will become famous, and all of us will become rich.
This is beginning to make sense. The one chosen doesn't really die.
Of course not. Over the next 3 months, the one who is to die will paint with all of his might. Not pictures, no. Sketches, studies, half-finished works. Meaningless, of course, but all signed by the artist. These are the things that sell at fabulous prices once the artist has died.
While the chosen one is painting, the other three will go in 3 different directions, preparing the world for his eventual demise.
That's right. When everything has been carefully prepared, we'll spring the death on them and hold a notorious funeral. The man changes his name and vanishes. We bury it underneath Cryver's with all the world to help.
It's magnificent, Carl. I've prepared slips with each of our names. You choose?
Millet.
Congratulations, Francois! You shall become rich and famous. The rest of us must be satisfied with just becoming rich.
And do we begin?
Immediately. Each of us shall take several dozen of Millet's small pictures and go in 3 different directions to market them.
When you see a potentially well-to-do man, bait your trap carefully. Let him see you doing a sketch. Say, of his house.
Then what?
Reel him in.
suppose that you recognize the signature? Well, he taught me. I should think that I ought to know my trade. You don't mean to intimate that you don't know the signature of Francois Millet?
Millet, of course I know Millet's work. I don't know what I could have been thinking. May I buy this painting?
Madam, I'm not a rich man, but I'm not a poor one either.
I will give you 500 francs for it.
Nothing less than 800 francs would cause me to part with the painting of the great Francois Millet.
Done.
$800! Millet would have sold it for a pork chop. Today, I wish that I could get that painting back for 80,000 francs.
How long did this go on?
Each day, I would sell one painting to one person, dozens of times, each time with the same story. I am a fool to sell a picture of Francois Millet at all, for that man is not going to live but 3 months. And when he dies, his paintings can't be had for love or money.
And this plan really worked?
Like a charm. We simply made people believe that the emperor had clothes. Karl was in Paris. He worked with a foreign news correspondent and got Millet's condition reported to England, and from there, around the world. Claude worked on the gallery owners and the art paintings. In 6 weeks, everyone in the art world was talking about Francois Millet. In 6 months, the 4 of us gathered.
Gentlemen, it is time. The world will be shocked to learn of the passing of Francois Millet.
He'll be carried to his grave by his 4 closest friends. Each 4.
We 4 Millet? You're going to hell. The 3 of us can't carry that coffin. It's filled with rocks.
We'll disguise you as a distant relative of Millet's.
And so, we laid the great Francois Millet to his rest.
Absolutely astonishing, darling.
We made so much money that we didn't know what to do with it. There is a man in Paris today who owns 70 Millet pictures, and he paid us 2 million francs for them. And as for the bushels of sketches and studies which Millet shoveled out during the time we were on the road, well, it would astonish you to know the future we seldom have nowadays. That is, when we consent to let one go.
My dear, it was a perfectly wonderful history. Whatever became of Millet?
Can you keep a secret, my dear?
Darling, my lips are sealed and my ears are wide open.
Do you recall the man I directed your attention to earlier today?
Theophile McNair?
I told him that it was a perfectly dreadful name to choose, but he thought it gave him a sense of propriety. That was Francois Millet.
Great
Scott! Yes. For once, they didn't starve a genius to death and then put into other pockets the rewards he should have had himself. This songbird was not allowed to pipe out its heart unharmed and then be paid with the cold pomp of a big funeral. We looked out for that.
I think I figured out Flora's sudden interest in sketching. Let me see that thing you've been working on all day.
Sure, Otis.
Flora, that is awful.
But once I get enough of them, and I fake my dad,
Now, Flora, I know you're going to have a hard time grasping this, but the point of Sam's tale was that Malay and the others were very talented artists, yet to be recognized.
Just how I feel, unrecognized.
The operative word, Flora, is talented. It don't take an art credit to realize that drawing stinks.
I'm sure I can fix it up some.
The trouble with washing garbage is when you're done, you still got garbage.
Stick to printing, Flora. You're really good at that. I keep breaking darn pencil anyways.
One thing I got to say, all this talk about traveling to Europe and such is giving me a hankering to go rambling on myself.
You don't say, Tom.
Yeah, if it was me, you know what I would do?
What?
I'd pilot the OP Clementine all the way down the Mississippi, turn her left at New Orleans, and head across the pond to Europe.
Sounds exciting, Tom.
Yep, but that old paddle wheel is only built for river travel, I'm afraid.
Details, details. Don't wake me while I'm dreaming.
This puts me in mind of a young girl named Allison Parrish. She was a Yale student who had the grand dream of traveling through Europe, too. She had gotten as far as Berlin.
That's in Germany, ain't it?
Yes, Flora. Last time I checked, that's where they were keeping it. Allison was in the Friedrichstrasse. It's one of those big halls that
Are
have...
you telling the story of the belated Russian passport?
That's the one.
You can't do that. Not with only 5 of us to do the telling.
We need some help.
Well, what about these folks here?
Bit unusual, don't you think?
Oh, they've been listening to us telling stories all day. It's about time they contributed. How about it, folks? You want to help us tell a story?
Come on.
Yeah.
Looks like we got all the help we can use, Otis.
Sure does. Well, folks, since this story takes place in Russia and Germany, those are countries over yonder in Europe.
They know that, Otis. We'll need y'all to learn some German and Russian words and repeat them when you're asked a question. Here's the German. Say 9.
9. Ooh, extra. Now here's the Russian. Ready, say, niet.
Yes. Does that mean no too, Otis?
You're too quick for me, Anne. I do believe we're ready.
Welcome to the Friedrichstrasse. It's one of those big halls they have over there. That's why we need all of y'all to be patrons. Allison has come for a farewell visit with some of her other Yale classmates.
But why would you cut your tour short?
Yes, Allison, you're only halfway through.
Looks like insanity, Allie. Tell us why.
Chrissy, Buffy, it's simple. I'm homesick. I was never away from home before, and every day I get more and more lonesome.
But surely you could finish your trip.
They used to call me Miss Weenie when I was a kid, because I was timid and all that. I guess it's still true. I can't stand going on my own, so I'm going home.
At least see St. Petersburg before you turn back.
It was my dearest dream. Please, say no more. I can't stand out against anybody's persuasion, but I simply cannot go alone.
Well, perhaps some of our German friends might like to accompany you.
Would anyone like to go to Russia with my friend? Okay.
You see, I'm doomed. Besides, here's my protection against a change of mind. I got a ticket and sleeper for Paris. I leave tonight. But drink up, friends. This one's on me. This one's for home.
Well, good luck, Allie.
Yes, we'll see you back in Haven.
Goodbye, my friends. I'm going to stay here until my train leaves.
mustn't. It'd be a grave mistake that you will always regret.
I beg your pardon?
I heard it all, you see. I was so close by, I couldn't help it. It troubles me that you would cut your trip short when you really want to see St. Petersburg.
I'm afraid that is quite impossible.
A beautiful city. 10 years I've known it. They all know me. Everybody knows me. Major Jackson. The very dogs know me. You must go.
Yes, you are right. I must see it. But I can't. If I were to go, I should die of loneliness.
Loneliness? But how? I'm going with you.
Oh, why? Is this a trap, I wonder? Is this stranger a con artist? Why all this interest in an unknown student? I had better ask my German friends. What do you think? Should I go with this stranger to Russia?
Nein.
Perhaps you are right. But look at her beaming face. I wish I could get out of this gracefully. What should I tell her? Nine. I can't tell her now, it would hurt her feelings. Thanks for your help. You are too kind, Major, but I couldn't put you to such an inconvenience.
Inconvenience? Nonsense. I was going tonight anyways. Come, we'll take the train together at 9.
Oh, well, that is impossible then. Here, look at these. I'm booked through to Paris, and I couldn't get these tickets and baggage coupons changed for St. Petersburg. And I can't afford to spend the money for new tickets because all I've got is this 500-mark banknote.
They'll change the tickets for me. They all know me. Everybody knows me. You sit right where you are, and I'll be right back. Oh, and I'll take your cash for, there'll be a little extra pay on the tickets. Maybe.
Now what? Should I trust this stranger with my tickets and all the money that I have in the world?
Nine.
You may be right this time.
Be back in a flash.
Major? Oh, Major? Gone. But she'll be back, don't you think? No. I can't tell you what confidence you instill. So what do I do now? You have the answer, my dear Felix friends?
Nine.
Why doesn't that surprise me? Tell me this, how does the German rail service work? Will the Major be able to change my tickets?
Nine.
Of course she won't. But would she throw the tickets away?
Nine.
No. She'd go to the rail station and try to sell them to someone at half price. I have to go after her. But the last round was at my expense. I didn't pay. Sure wish I hadn't given her all my funds. She's gone. I don't have any money. I have to get to the train station and catch the Major. I hate to do this, but I have to run out on the bill. Where did the Major go? She has my tickets.
You, Allison. Expect a bazaar, maybe?
Well, no. I thought... Well, never mind that. What took you so long? You didn't leave me any money to pay my bill.
New man at the ticket office, and he didn't know me. Wouldn't make the exchange because it was irregular or something, so I had to hunt up my old friend, the station master.
Where are my tickets?
Calm down. Your luggage has been reweighed, rechecked, fare ticketed, and sleeper changed. There you are. Now you get yourself down to the rail station, and I'll meet you there.
Where are you going now?
The Russian consulate, to have your papers approved. Won't be but a jiffy. To the station without delay.
I must return to the Friedrichstrasse and settle my bill first.
No time for that. They all know me. Everybody knows me. I'll settle it the next time I'm in Berlin. Push along now.
But
now, if you'll advise this young woman's passport for St. Petersburg is... Thunder. Oh, well, listen here. I'm Major Jackson. He knows me. Everybody knows me. You advise it yourself? It'll be all right. Tell him Major Jackson asked you.
That would be desperately and fatally irregular. Impossible.
Here are the fees. Have him vise it in the morning and start it along by mail.
Fine. But you will visit to the frontier by 24 hours. There are no accommodations there for so long to wait.
Who's going to wait? Not I.
Surely, you do not wish to send to St. Petersburg.
And why not?
With its owner living at the frontier, 25 miles away, it couldn't do her any good under the circumstances.
Who said she's going to be doing any tarrying?
They'll stop at the frontier if she has no passport.
Indeed they won't. The chief inspector knows me. Everybody knows me. I'll be responsible for the young woman.
But, ma'am, these are very serious. In years since I beat it from being in Russia without a passport.
Tarnation. Oh well. Label her St. Petersburg and let her sail. They all know me there. All the authorities. I'll make it right as nails.
Y'all did good with German. Give yourselves a round of applause. Now, can I get about 5 volunteers? Oh my, those 2 very eager-looking young ladies. Y'all line up over here. Who else? Let me see. Oh, the one that the girl keeps pointing to, you black. And then you behind me. You 2, that'd be great. No, you're not upstage. Go down there. That's 4. I need 1 more. Oh, and then you in the white. That's fantastic. I got all the way down.
They're stepping on my petunias, Virginia. Get them all.
Stay down there. Thank you. Now, y'all are Russians waiting in line at the frontier to get into the country. Now remember, we're in Russia, so every time you're asked a question, the answer is always yes. Oh, great. On with the story.
You know, I don't remember you bringing my passport away from the consulate, but you did, didn't you?
No, it's coming by mail.
Coming by mail? They surely aren't going to let me in, Major. How could you do such a thing?
Nothing to worry about.
I wonder if these Russians here in line will agree with your analysis of our situation. Excuse me, do you think they'll let me in the country without my passport?
Yes.
Yet!
Never mind then. The chief inspector knows me. Everybody knows me.
Everybody knows me. Yes, I believe I've heard that somewhere.
I'll fix it. Excuse me. You will pardon me. The chief inspector knows me.
Sorry, Miss Benita. I must be the dumbest Yale student in the history of this university. How could I allow myself to be talked into such an insane trip?
It's a new inspector, and I don't know him.
Oh, I might have known.
It's all right. The sub-inspector is nearsighted as a post. I'll go on through and get my passport chopped and go to the fence and pass it through to you. You go along with the crowd and trust his poor vision. You'll make it.
Your description and mine do not match at all.
Difference between 31 and 19. Completely imperceptible to that post. It's gonna come out as right as nails.
Well, y'all were real enthusiastic. Let's give them a round of applause. Allison and the Major made it through to the country, but their problems had only just begun. After ward wanted to see Allison's passport.
It's all right. You know me. I'll be responsible for the young woman.
I wish I could accommodate you, Major, but I cannot allow her to stay in the hotel without the passport.
But you know me. Everybody knows me. Let her stay one night and I give you my word.
It is quite impossible. In fact, we may both be in trouble. If you turn around to meet the general of the secret police.
Didn't see how things could get worse until now.
Nothing to fear. Boris, good to see you, my friend. And now we shall get things straight. Allison, this is my chum, Boris Marchenko, General of the Secret Police. How are you, my friend?
Apparently better than you, Major. Your friend here is in what you Americans call warm tea, hot water, hot water, big trouble. I marvel that you should have done such an insane thing as bringing her into the country without a passport, leaving her oarless in the ocean, eh?
Out the river without a paddle.
Ah, I stand corrected, Major. Again. How stupid of me. However, because of your stupidity, your chum here will be spending the next 10 years in Siberia. But you Americans think what? That is no big deal? Do you still say that, Major? 10 years, no big deal. Catch her, Major!
Good. Play sick for all it's worth.
Who's playing?
Boris, the poor girl's sick, and her passport will be arriving within the next 24 hours.
Quick as a rabbit, eh, Major? Did I say that one correctly? Quick as a rabbit. Just 24 hours. Very well. For friendship's sake, then, I give you exactly 24 hours. If it is not here by then, it's no big deal. Just Siberia without hope of pardon.
You are most kind, Boris.
Until tomorrow's end. Good night.
Allison and the Major realized the mail train would not arrive until 3 hours past their deadline.
My life is over. You'll tell my mother what has happened to her beloved daughter?
Nothing to fear. I had this card up my sleeve all the time. The American ambassador and I chummed together hours and hours under a pile of other wounded at Cold Harbor. Been chummies ever since. In spirit, though we've never yet met in body. Never met? Our troubles are at an end if we ever really had any. The American embassy will simply issue you a new passport. And that's the whole story, Madam Ambassador, beginning to end.
I see your problem, Major, but what can I do?
Why hang it? Give her a new passport.
It's simply impossible. 3 days ago, you hadn't heard of her. There is no way in the world to identify her.
Madam Ambassador, I have not slept in 24 hours. I know that I might not look like myself, but I am still identifiable as Allison Parrish.
There, satisfied? She has been identified.
Very amusing, Major, but Is Allison Parrish your true name?
Yes, of course.
Where are you from?
Bridgeport, Connecticut, but I was born in New Haven.
When you lived in New Haven, what street did you live on?
2 Parker Street. Why do you torture me with these foolish things?
What kind of house was it?
Brick, 2-story.
Flush with the sidewalk?
No, small yard in front.
What did you see when you first entered the front door?
Narrow hall, door at the end of it, and a door at your right.
Any nicknames among your playmates?
They called me Miss Weenie.
Any ornaments in the dining room?
Well, no.
None? None at all?
No.
Isn't that a little odd? Think, not even a picture.
Oh, certainly, but you said ornament. There was a large painting.
What did your father think of it?
I can't tell you what he said.
Out with it! There is no time to lose. Home and leave
on the answer.
Have pity, he's a clergyman.
Out with it, or?
Quick, we're but a minute away from the deadline.
He said it was the hellfiredest nightmare he ever saw.
Saved! I identify you. I've lived in that house before and I painted the picture myself. You see, just as I planned it, rescued. Didn't I tell you I'd make it right as nails? We will always be grateful to God that he made this here artist. If he did.
That was an exciting story, Junior.
I always wanted to see them places over in Europe, but I'd be darn sure my papers were in order before I went over there.
You're missing the point, Flora. Parrish found a friend, and a man who has friends
He is a wealthy man indeed.
Oh, that'd be the Clementine getting ready to shove off. I best be on my way.
They can't leave without you at the wheel, can they, Tom?
Just a figure of speech, Eddie. They signal that whistle to get my attention.
Reckon it worked.
Oh, I nearly forgot. You got my supplies on us?
Got the box inside, Tom. Here with the energy.
And here I thought you'd just come by for a cup of my coffee and a warm smile.
That is the frosting on top of the pie, Miss Jenny. It's what makes an old river sailor's riverfront flat.
You know, they should open one of the Friedrichstrasse around here. You know, one of the big Berlin homes.
Some place to quench your thirst, Flora?
Otis, you know I don't indulge in spirits of any kind, but I do like a good pretzel, and it might just enable me to get some work done around here. You know, no one pays me to sit around here jawing with y'all all day.
Go to it then, Flora. Print us a paper with some good news in it for a change.
You never talk to Annie about that. I just print whatever she gives me. Now, I really must get going.
Here's your supplies, Tom.
Thanks, Otis. Put it on my tab, will you?
What would I do if I got me some real cash paying customers?
Well, you know, I'm good for it.
I'm just funning with you, Tom. And don't you have somewhere to be?
Nope, I'm free as a bird. Oh, good. You can help me out then.
Sure thing, Miss Jenny. What'd you need?
Well, you see, I'm making a dress for Pearl Neely, and you're just about her size. I'd like you to try it on. I'll go get it.
Boy, I just remembered. Story needs investigating. Bye. You explain to Miss Jenny, Otis.
Sure will, Annie.
She gone.
Like a deer during hunting season.
What would you have done if she hadn't turned her white tail and flag, Virginia?
I expect that every good actress must utilize the proper tool.
You know, there'd just not be a good story there. The dressmaker's model.
Work on it the next time you're in town, Tom.
Sure would pass the time between ports, don't you think? Be seeing you.
Be seeing you, Tom.
Smooth sailing.
He is a nice fellow.
They all are, dear.
Sure warms a man's heart, knowing he has such great friends.
Who want nothing more in life than to sit around swapping stories with you.
I suppose we sell a few more supplies, if and we have a few less friends.
Maybe, but life sure would be a whole lot poorer.